Beyond the Ring, a podcast that covers all things in the stock show industry, from the informative to the insane, starring Ryan Rash.
Don't study me, because you won't graduate.
And Dale Hummel.
If everything is going electric, let's start with the border wall.
Now on with the show.
Welcome to Beyond the Ring. This is Dale Hummel, along with co-star Ryan Rash.
Hello, hello, hello.
Ryan, you fly lately?
We are on, what is this, the 8th day of 2024, and I have not flown yet, but I'm about to, so.
I suggest a 737.
I'm not getting on Alaska Airlines. I didn't do it before. I'm damn sure not doing it now when the doors are falling off the plane.
I do believe you fly United, right?
Yes, I do. I am loyal.
They have more of the, I believe it's the 737 Boeing than any other airline. So guess what?
It was Alaska's problem, not United.
No, it wasn't Alaska's problem. This falls squarely on a subcontractor for Boeing Airlines or Boeing manufacturers. So all the 737s have been grounded until they can be inspected.
On all airlines?
All airlines. If you own and I hope I'm getting this right, a 737, whatever Airbus, they are grounded for now.
So
some have been, well, on that size airline, that model. Now, it's a 2 or 4 hour.
I would think that's a very popular model.
They did cancel a lot of flights because of it. A lot of them are back going again, checked out fine, all good. But just think, this was above Portland, 16,000 feet, I think. The place that used to be an emergency exit, now they just put a door plug in, they call it, just pops off. And the oxygen mass dropped down. I'm sure it's pretty darn cold at 16,000 feet above Portland, Oregon. It's bad experience.
They're going to have to get this fixed quick. I got places to go.
I know that United has a lot of those, and my family, some of my family will be flying to Denver.
You ain't never flew United in your life, you penny pension.
I do, because United's the cheapest out of O'Hare, because that's one of their bases, I believe. So occasionally they have been coming up cheaper than most. And I tend to book at the last minute. So Southwest is not an issue or not an option. It's just bad. But no, that is something that is going to probably, I'm sure it's caused a lot of disruptions the past couple of days, but hopefully here in the next few days, they'll be up and running full force again.
You are just all full of this information because you do not want to talk about what is really the biggest story.
Yeah, that the defense secretary was missing in action for 4 days. That is the biggest. That is the biggest.
That is not it. The biggest story is your boyfriend, Don Juan DeSantis, when he doesn't win Iowa, is going to drop out of the race because he is a failure.
News.
And you don't want to talk about it.
Fake news, and you know it is.
I do not
put that out there to try to beat him.
No, they did not. No,
Oh, yes.
Some campaign official said that, and this man
News.
literally in the history of presidential campaigns has got to be in the top 5 worst ever.
He has a very strong resume, and he's not doing.
Worst campaigns.
I'm agreeing with you. I am agreeing with you. Wouldn't you say that if you just took a short snapshot of the best governors out there right now, would you not consider him?
He should be. Even y'all know that I would vote for Trump 9 million times in a row if I could. There's no doubt. That man should be running neck and neck with Trump. Neck and neck. Most people thought he was going to beat Trump. He can't even jumpstart it.
I think if he could have jump-started and resonated that he has less baggage and a better chance in the general, maybe, but looking at it in hindsight, nobody had a chance against Trump.
And I guess I know that he's denying that this has been talked about in his campaign, but you and I damn well know that all of these networks did not take on this story on a hope and a prayer and a whim. Whoever let this leak has to be up in the DeSantis game. And you can deny it all you want, but you know I'm right.
I disagree. I think it's all fictional. All fictional. Don't you think we should talk about our defense secretary?
Our defense secretary is dying. He's sick. He had disappeared for 4 days while we were doing military strikes. Who authorized them? I don't know, but not him. And his backup was on a beach somewhere in vacation.
Yeah.
So
Here, CNN, and you know your network doesn't want to beat up on Joe or Mr. Lloyd Austin. A quote from CNN. President Joe Biden was not aware for days that Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin was hospitalized.
in ICU.
Yes. And the president doesn't know it. His top advisors don't know. This is his number one advisor on the defense of our country or our military, period.
He's in the damn cabinet.
Amazing. And what, the second in charge was in Puerto Rico?
On a beach.
His deputy?
Busy.
On a beach?
Busy.
And I think it was a she, maybe.
It is a she.
Know. And she was not made aware either until
No, she didn't know. She didn't know till she got back, from what I understand.
How is this even possible? This is
better
the
than that.
perfect example of this bullshit administration.
Okay, wait, stop. Man's in ICU, has surgery, second in command's on the beach. Who?
And our number one in command's in St. Croix or somewhere.
Who was authorizing the military strikes that happened? And they did, because they're all talking about it. And no one can answer these questions. The White House, the Department of Defense, no one can answer. How is that possible?
One of them said he just must be a figurehead. Look at it that way, but it's just bad.
And all these people on both sides of the aisle, high up politicians, are saying that Austin's got to resign. He ain't going nowhere.
No, he has no intentions of resigning. None.
He
They
can't
are
get another
calling
job.
for it.
He almost died.
So why would you not? I mean, that is how loosely run this White House is, and how non-coherent or non-interested our president, Mr. Sleepy Joe, is. That almost seems impossible. That right now, with the world the way it is, that you're not in contact with your defense secretary or not aware.
Well, there are not one but two wars taking place that, granted, we're not fighting them, but we are very heavily involved in.
Yeah. And the attacks on our bases in the Middle East, we're actually retaliating on occasion. There's so many disasters under the Biden administration, and our attention span as a population is so short. There's so many things that should have completely taken down this presidency, but because there's so much, you just can't even focus on one for very long.
And the whole thing is, like, we're not talking about, like, every network is reporting that this went on for days without the Department of Defense or the White House knowing.
Yes. Nobody's
Like 4
denying
days.
that. Amazing.
And again, who was running? who was in charge? I don't know. They don't know. They don't answer. Nothing. Only answer they have, the Secretary Austin is going nowhere. Good.
Yeah.
Keep it up.
Would you like some more good news?
No. We can't talk about politics on here anymore. Remember,
No,
you
I'm
got
not.
hate
This
mail.
is not. Yeah. Oh, but remember, I somewhat enjoyed the hate mail.
I thought that was what's going to be the whole current events was about. That's what you told me.
We should. So yeah, let's talk about the hate mail.
No.
So somehow an Apple podcast, I think that you can place reviews up there, and I'm going to apologize that we don't see many of those reviews, but
I'm just going to be real honest. I do not care what your review of me is. That's why I don't read them. Why Dale reads them, I have no idea.
I don't even know how I got to that point. I think I was searching for some podcast, and obviously Beyond the Ring comes up on my screen, and here are all the reviews. And there was a lot of reviews, but there were, I think, 3 or 4 that were very angry about our current events, Ryan. Very angry that we talk about politics or give our opinion on what's going on in the world.
Uh-huh.
You know what my message is to those 3 or 4 people?
I doubt they're still listening, but go right ahead. Get it off your chest.
Why would they listen? If they don't, we do not make them listen. Do not listen. Do not even fast forward through it. Do not listen to what we consider the educational part of the livestock stock show part of the podcast. Just tune out. Just forget that we exist is what I would prefer.
That is a very toned down, politically correct version of what you said to me. But anyway, we'll move on.
What about the attacks in the Red Sea, driving shipping costs up?
And that's all
You're not at all concerned. What about your makeup? What about your nail polish? Those things, you know what the cost of those is going to be? Double because of shipping. Double.
Cherie's going to have to pony up some more money is all I can tell her.
So they have had attacks in the Red Sea, and now they're talking about how they have to go around the southern tip of Africa, which is very dangerous, I believe. Panama Canal has a drought. Central America is undergoing a drought, so they can only send like 22 ships a day through the Panama Canal. So shipping rates are going to keep going up like crazy. And speaking of the Panama Canal, Ryan, are you aware that we spent a lot of money to build that, and it took a lot of lives?
And the sale of the Panama Canal is absolutely the dumbest and most disastrous decision of any American presidency that has ever happened.
Your peanut farmer did it.
Was it Jimmy?
It was 1977.
So it was Jimmy.
We sold it for $1.
I told you earlier when we talked about this, I thought it was Jimmy. I wasn't alive then, but
there's a lot of different data, and I remember Chase saying something about this. Anywhere from 5,000 to
we got to be nice about Jimmy. His wife just died.
I know. But it cost us at that time $375 million, and it's currently bringing revenue in of close to $2 billion a year.
And we sold it
for $1.
$1.
And you want to know who owns many of the ports? I can't say who can. Yeah, they now control. They do not own, but they do control parts of the Panama Canal, whatever that means. That's all I could get out of it. It's just bullshit at every level. Very, very concerning to me. Iowa caucus next week.
Yes.
I watched a little bit today on the news, and they're interviewing different people, and I don't think there's any question that Trump's going to win by a lot. But I really don't know who's going to, I don't know whether Nikki or my buddy Ron, or I don't know who's going to come into second.
Well, okay. And again, I'm not trying to bring back up your boyfriend, Don Juan DeSantis, but if you hear that story and you were caucusing in Iowa, and like those of you that don't know the caucus process, it's a lot. It's a lot.
The more I think about it, I'm not in favor of that exact process, but I appreciate you having to actually do something.
Well, I understand.
To vote.
But, or if you're in another state, particularly, and you see this story, DeSantis going to quit if he doesn't win Iowa, and you're not a Trump person, you're like, well, if that son bitch is going to quit, I'm going to go for somebody else. And you may not hear anything again.
That is why you should assume that somebody other than his camp put that out there. This is very simple. Very simple. Yes. Very simple.
It ain't simple. But
and again, I will agree. He is a terrible campaigner. Terrible.
And Trump's out there, and I don't blame him. He's saying, just because you think I'm going to win, you still got to go out and do it, all this other stuff. So they're downplaying expectation. And do I think Trump is going to get 50% of Iowa? No. But now, this is typical mainstream media biased bullshit. Now, they are saying now they are saying that like if Trump doesn't win by over 20%, then
it's a loss.
It's a loss and all this other. But if he wins Iowa, he wins Iowa. That is plain and simple.
I would have to agree. If he doesn't win by 20%, the mainstream media is going to blow that up.
Okay, but it does not make any. A win is a win is a win.
We have a voting populace in a close to 50% of them I consider uneducated, uninformed, maybe just ignorant. And they're going to listen to that mainstream media. You watch. It should. Absolutely understand it. It's amazing. Any other pressing current events that you made?
Hunter Biden. You forgot about Hunter.
I did not. Oh, I heard a blip. He's got a couple things happening right now.
And I don't know the details of it, but I do know that Congress today either drew up a resolution or something that it's their first steps to holding him accountable for snubbing the congressional subpoena.
Yes, I would hope that. What is the end result of doing that? I don't. What is the
nothing probably, but they're making a big deal out of it, so they must not do this often because he's damn sure not the first person to not show up when Congress subpoenaed him. Let's just get real.
So in hindsight, should Hunter not maybe go ahead and get prosecuted, thrown in jail, everything before Joe is no longer in office so he can pardon him?
He probably needs to hurry up.
No, I don't think I don't think the process works that quickly, but if he was smart about that and his legal advisors say you are going to spend time in jail or prison, you would think he'd want to do it. Like,
I just plead guilty to everything right now and go thrown in jail until Daddy pardon me.
And he would. Mm-hmm. No question. Not even a thought. That would be, and I don't even think he'd wait to the end of his presidency. He'd do it the day that his beloved Hunter went to prison. That is my guess.
Your boyfriend.
On a very positive note, this is for rainbows and butterflies and unicorns.
Uh-huh.
I'm excited. My family is heading to the National Western Stock Show. We're going to be showing some goats, and it's hopefully going to be good weather going out. It's not good.
It's
here
not
in
right
Illinois
now.
Right now.
If you get on Facebook, people can't get to Denver.
It is, but hopefully we don't leave until Wednesday, which will be past by the time this drops. But we've got another day here before we have to hit the road, and hopefully it gets better. And the best part of it, Ryan, we are delivering some Yowie pups on the way.
Oh,
some
wonderful.
dingo hybrids.
I'm so glad.
Do you want me to bring you one?
I do not. I do not want a
dog. You would be good with a pet.
I don't want a pet. I don't want a dog.
You should not be allowed to have pets or children.
I don't want children. I don't want pets. I have multiple personalities to deal with. That keeps me busy.
What about as a support animal? You could use some emotional support.
I do not need any type of emotional support. Listen.
You need the most.
No, I don't. No. There is nothing anybody can do or say to me that my mother hasn't over the years. I have lived through it all. I am fine.
I think from a calming standpoint, you just kind of pet on them a little bit and they relax you, calm you down.
I'm all right.
Well, let's move forward. Do we have any BTR JLA end of the year, beginning of the year?
Well,
news?
It's the beginning of the year, and you need to sign up and join. Again, go to btrjla.com, sign up, because you have to be a member before you go to the shows. You can't go to 5 shows and then be like, oh, can I get points from January? No. When you start getting points the day you sign up. So sign up right now before you go to your first show of the year. We are very excited. For the next couple of weeks, we're going to be highlighting winners on social media. And for the next month, we'll be talking about the 2023 winners on here. And so the first ones that I am going to read are the 2023 top 10 all around. This is the final. And the winner for this year, Piper Liska from Yuma, Arizona with 1,536 points. The reserve champion all-around exhibitor is Isabel Lowry from Helena, Montana with 1,435 points. Third is Zane Downey, Whitehall, Montana, 1,256 points. Fourth, last year's all-around winner, Paisley Carlson, Oakland, California, 1,103 points. Fifth, Macy Zerbach, Roseburg, Oregon, 1,073 points. Next is Echo Bartles of Loma, Colorado, 998 points. Seventh is Elmer Hambrick of Golden Valley, Arizona, 889 points. Eighth, Dallas Ritchie, LaPorte, Indiana, 875 points. Ninth, Callie Simpson, Eager, Arizona, 868 points. And rounding out the top 10 all-around BTR JLA exhibitors for 2023, Mason Calhoun of Pineville, Oregon, with 855 points. So congratulations to our top 10 all-around for 2023. Really, really proud of all y'all. Y'all did a great job. It was not easy to to get in that top 10 at all, obviously. And so super excited for them. We'll do the species on here throughout the next month, but congratulations to them. As of today, I would like to sincerely thank, for the third year in a row, Old Wood Limited for being the all-around sponsor for 2024. Old Wood Limited is one of the nation's largest manufacturers of custom-wide plank flooring and other unique reclaimed building materials. Our products will turn your project into a one-of-a-kind masterpiece that will last for generations to come. Made right here in America, visit us online at www.oldwoodlimited, and that's spelled OLDEWOODLTD.com to create your dream home today. We greatly, greatly appreciate Old Wood Limited. They have been the all-around sponsor for the last 3 years. Wonderful, wonderful family in Ohio, American-made business. We cannot thank them enough for their support of the BTRJLA.
Thank you, Old Wood Limited. That is appreciated, and your support of the youth livestock industry is special.
Mandy, thank you. Thank you, Mandy.
Yes. And the top 10, Ryan, I don't know. I'm sure the people that are chasing points and involved in understand just how many shows and the success level it took to get into that top 10. Extremely, extremely competitive. So I congratulate those that made that, and a lot of familiar names in there that certainly are well deserved. So congratulations to that. ShowFresh H2O is in our show box as we head to Denver. It is that simple. Show stock will not drink much chlorinated city water, or as much chlorinated city water as they would the water at home. ShowFresh H2O will rectify this problem and help keep your show stock hydrated. You can find ShowFresh H2O at your local farm store, show supply trailer, and at swampfox.com. And for the second week in a row, once again, I would like to thank Creed Garrett Fitting Clinics for the support of the junior livestock industry and this podcast. Creed's clinics are 2-day comprehensive hands-on clinics that are put on across the country. This is a chance to learn from one of the best. The next clinic is February 17th and 18th in Chatsworth, Georgia. The easiest way to gather more information would be to go to Creed Garrett Goat Fitting Clinics on Facebook, or reach out via email, booking@goatfittingclinics.com, booking@goatfittingclinics.com. And Ryan, my wife just set a sticky note in front of me. What do you think she would like?
She probably wants some ad for some of her puppies, or just sell you to the highest bidder, which nobody's going to pay for you.
I think she would take both at this point. Probably me first, but she is our non-paid graphic designer. And she would like me to mention she has one Frenchie pup available. And for some reason, she's not as big of a fan of keeping all these Yowie Dingo hybrid pups. I just soon keep them all, but we do have a few of those available as well. So puppycentral.com.
You're just shameless. Absolutely shameless.
I'm good with keeping mine, but these little Frenchies, we have 3. We do not need any more. This one needs to find a home.
Look, I finally been to your house. You do not need one more animal of any kind to feed. Period.
No, we have plenty. Many. I like dogs. I very much like dogs.
And Creed, I'm calling your ass when this is over, because you need to quit giving your money to Dale and give it to the juniors, because those are the people that support your clinic. And also, I do want to say something to the ShowFresh H2O people. Dale saying that is in his show box. I'm sure it is also in his nightstand and everywhere else, because he keeps it on him at all times. He's the biggest believer.
This is good for people, pets across.
I'm sure it's in your glove compartment as we speak.
That is a good place for it. I mean, it is simple. If your water are not going to drink,
you better take a whole lot of that shit to Denver, because I'm telling you, you going to Libtard Central. They're going to
yes. Oh, it will be. Yeah.
If ShowFresh H2O can clean the water in Denver, it is the biggest miracle worker of all.
I'll give a testimony after the fact, but I get people at every show I go to.
That is nothing against the National Western. That is against the idiots that live in Denver that vote.
I actually appreciate the National Western is able to
for trying to
survive,
continue
thrive.
the Western heritage in that environment.
And they're getting it done. New facilities. I mean, I'm impressed. They're swimming through the crap really well, and I'm sure it's a headache every day for them.
Oh, there's no.
So, National Western people, we appreciate it. Good job. Keep it up. Hopefully, you can continue forever. I'm looking forward to seeing some of the things they're doing out there. I am going to be very disheartened when I don't see the old stockyards. That will bother me.
You'll live.
But I will live. Today's topic. Are you ready, Ryan?
Yeah.
Anything and everything online sales.
Well, I don't have to say jack shit about this because you were the master at it. I'm just going to sit here and listen.
And you are too old. Most of your purchasing would have been prior to online sales. I would assume.
That is not right.
Oh, you aged out when?
No, but I brokered cattle all.
Oh, I was talking about your career. Yours. There was
no. There would have been no online sales then.
I'm gonna and I should have looked at this, but I'm gonna say what? When did online sales take off? Mid-90s?
Oh,
I don't know.
They were online sales in the no, because the internet wasn't even. I mean, I don't even remember when AOL started, but it was mid-90s, and when AOL and the internet
that was when I was still in grad school, and that would have been late 80s, 1990-ish.
Well, mid-90s, there were no online sales till at least 2000.
I'm not arguing. I would agree. That's
because I'm telling you, there were no online sales when I was showing. And so we'll just leave it at that.
We're almost able to calculate your age.
We're not calculating shit. Move on.
I think we talked about online sales at some point.
No.
200 episodes ago. No. Nothing about it?
No. We talked about...
I do not.
We talked about different sale types, like online or whatever.
Yes, we did. You're right. Now I remember.
No. And then we did this other one about premium sell order and all this other stuff. And you said you want to do online sell order. Then you forgot about it. And you didn't like my topic because that would require you to think of stupid stuff that you've seen. So then we came up with this. No, I wanted to do the top 10 craziest things you've ever seen in the stock show.
Still do that. I'm maybe.
You've got a long ass drive to Denver where you got nothing to do but think of the crazy things you've seen. And you've been to more shows than most anybody. So you should have seen a lot of stupid stuff.
Thank you. I'm sure I have. My problem is I do forget some of those things over time.
Yeah, well, you've had 2 great podcast topics in the last month that you forgot by the next morning and didn't tell me, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I did have some good ones. I've got to start writing those down. Need to do that. Let's get back on topic. Anything and everything online sales. I've got a few things just to break down to make sure we don't miss anything, and I think let's start, Ryan. Do you want to break into the specifics or just do the general? Let's go specific. Sale order. Let's just jump in. Sale order and an online sale. Tell me about it.
Well, I again, and no one will believe this, and that is fine, but I must state from the beginning, I have nothing against online sales. Nothing at all. And have I looked at animals that have been for sale online videos and all this? Absolutely. But I can state emphatically and honestly, I have never participated in an online sale. I have never bid on an animal. I don't have a buyer's number from anyone, any platform, anything like that. I have nothing against it. But for me, I am going to go see the animal in person, and y'all ain't gonna like to hear this. Not if I want that animal, I'm just gonna buy it right then.
And there's nothing stopping you from seeing the online animals.
No, I'm not saying there is. There's not anything. But what I'm telling you is, if I go see one, I'm going and I want it, I'm going to buy it then.
That is probably going to cost you more.
And I don't care. I want it now.
I just don't understand that logic sometimes.
But so I have never actually bid in an online sale. And so I don't have much experience with it, but I do know from talking to all the people that do nothing but look at online sales for probably 8 hours a day and stuff like that. I don't care how you do your sale order, and there are many different ways to do it. The masses are going to believe that lot 1 is the best one. Regardless, you can put the worst one up there. If it's the first one they see on they're going to think that's the best one.
I think there's a large portion of the buyers that will assume such. And there's going to be some breeders that put them up random. Some are going to go off birth date, maybe tag number, and some are going to put them in the order that they like them, with lot 1, in theory, being the one that they have the most faith in its potential. So I think you're right, Ryan. There's confusion.
And some of them don't have them listed as lot 1 because, like you said, some of them have them by birth date or all this other stuff. And so maybe it's like 301C is just the first one that's up there at the top. It does not matter. I am telling you right now, I have talked to entirely too many people. They all believe the first one up there is the best one. And I see absolutely zero logic in that. None.
No, I understand. So what we've done, partially because of exactly what you're talking about, and I'm just going to speak from our personal experience or what we're doing currently. So we want to do everything possible to, I guess, in my mind, if, like you said, you'd like to see them in person, there's a lot of reasons that people will buy online and that may never show up and look at them in person. There's time restraints, lots of different things. So Ryan, wouldn't you think that everything you can do as a seller, if you want to be in this long term, the long game, to give that buyer as clear of a picture of exactly what that is and exactly what you think of those animals, would that not benefit you long term with repeat business?
Yes, absolutely.
So we take, and not that we're always right by any means, but we will put them in the order for the most part how we like these. Now, if it's a specific show date or a specific judge you're hunting for, those things are going to change. We kind of have to generalize and be a little bit generic in terms of how we evaluate those. Just in general, here's our best one, here's our second one. So we will put them in sale order for the most part. Occasionally, if we've got one that's a little skinny that we think is going to get along really well, it still gets beat up in the sale order because it's harder to tell that in that picture or that video. And oftentimes we'll put that in the write-up and those will sell as well as some of the higher lots. But I think anything you can do to guide those buyers to what you believe in or what your ranking is, and not even as much about what is your best one, but you have some in there and everybody has some in their sales that are just show stock, just nice animals that are maybe destined to go and hopefully do well at county fair. And that's about it. But I think when we look at sale orders, like you said, there's probably more people that put them in the order they like them than not, but I don't know that for a fact. I think it's probably scrambled. From a buyer standpoint, if you want to harvest as much money as you possibly can, I would say it's probably in your best interest not to put them in the order you like them and let people debate and discuss and assume maybe that one they found as lot 12 is maybe the best one and they're willing to spend more for it. So I don't know what the best option is from a seller standpoint to harvest as much cash in one sale as you possibly can. But I feel very confident that anything you can do to get information to those families to give them an accurate description of what those animals are is going to help you long term. If that animal shows up and looks as good or better or exactly as described, they feel pretty comfortable. And I tell you what, when it shows up and they don't, those buyers aren't coming back. It's just that simple. So
I just want to put this out there. I want everybody that's listening to this that is a buyer. Dale's worried about the sellers. I'm on this thing. As a buyer, look at all of the animals. Do not think, because again, I understand that, and I think Dale's probably doing the right thing. He puts them in the order they like them, all this other stuff. Also, every online salesperson that puts that order up there, makes those decisions on, well, this is lot 1. They don't know your needs. They don't know who's judging your show. They don't know when your show is. They don't know any of these things. So look at them all and don't just think, oh, well, this one is lot 1 and this one is lot 12. So clearly lot 12 is not as good as lot 1. Throw that out of your mind. Because
call the breeder or the broker.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Call them up, email them, bug the shit out of them. That's what they're there for. They're trying to sell these things. But I'm just telling you, you know way more about what you need from this animal than anyone that picked a sale order on the animals they bred or raised or want to sell. So don't fall into that trap. Do not.
But don't assume if it's a breeder that you are aware they put them in the order they like them. And let's say there's 20 steers in this sale, and you go down and buy a lot 19 or 20 and expect to win a national show, probably the wrong expectations. You better do everything you can to contact that person. It's not to say that one of those lower lots won't turn out and do much better, but if they're near the end of that sale order and they intentionally put them in order, they're trying to tell you guys, this is for a family that wants to do well at a county or a jackpot show, something like that. Let's hope for the best, and let's hope it far exceeds all the expectations of that particular seller, whether it's a breeder or a broker or whatever it may be. And you'll find, I'm going to say this many times throughout here, reach out via text, via phone call, whatever you can do. And that doesn't mean that every broker and breeder is going to be completely honest with you. But I'll tell you what, you've got to at least try, because without some guidance from them, you better hope those descriptions are right. You better hope that video is clear enough for you to see things, and that picture is a very representative example of that animal. Otherwise, you're in trouble. So don't ever hesitate to reach out. I think a lot of buyers will say, well, I didn't want to bother you. That's our job. We are here to answer those questions and help guide you and maybe better understand what your goals are, so we can help match that goal up with wherever your budget is. Make sure that everything comes together to get you the best possible experience you can. And that doesn't happen without communicating more times than not. With that, Ryan, it kind of leads us into sale descriptions. Some sales don't have any description. Some breeders and brokers just put them up there, no descriptions at all. Maybe that's good, because that may force buyers to call them. But guess what? I guarantee you there's still people out there listening to us right now that they went to an online sale. There's no description. We don't know what order they're in or anything. Maybe just a still picture, no video, and they've bought an animal. Do you want me to tell you why there's bad experiences in online sales? That would be one of them.
Again, I'm not here to tell anybody how to sell their animals, because obviously they need to do what works for them. I don't think I think that you probably are more beneficial if you put a sale description up there. And if y'all knew the amount of money that I could have made writing sale descriptions, how many times I have been asked, propositioned, etc. It's a lot, but I don't.
I think you should do some of those and donate it to BTR JLA.
Okay.
I think you would be very popular.
Trust me, I'm telling you, I could have made a lot of money, but I do not give Dale many compliments, but I'm going to give him one.
Oh my!
I have read. Yeah, exactly. You better mark this down. Tuck it up on your wall, because you probably won't get another one throughout the rest of the year. I have read the majority of Dale's sale descriptions, and he is the opposite of what most people are. I mean, he's like, this is nothing more than a county fair sale maker and stuff. I mean, stuff like that. He downplays his animals in his sale descriptions when it is overwhelmingly 99.9% of the time the opposite way. So you can read some of these things and you will literally think that Jesus came down from heaven and like placed his hand on said stock show animal as like, you will win the big banner. It's comical. It really is.
I think part of the reason that I write them the way that I do is when I look at other sales and across species,
you see what I'm
just
talking
like
about.
Said, yeah, every one of them is gonna hang a national banner or national. Ryan, how many national champions are out there?
There are not that many.
No, there's not. I mean, it just whether statistically, it's just the likelihood of you throwing a dart at one of those sale animals that says it's going to be a national champion and that happening, it's like winning the lottery.
I mean, it's just so comical to me. It really is. I mean, it is so so out there. And so and I think probably maybe some of the reason that there is a little more people not putting cell descriptions up because it's gone so far that way. And everybody, we talked about being barn blind last week on the 10 Commandments or whatever. Everybody, of course, loves their animals and all this other stuff, but like some of these things, like them people know they just lying. they just are. But
No, that's just the truth of it. And I don't know. I think that when you talk every animal up as being one of the best ones you've ever made, and it's so hard to cut this one loose, and all the things that you always hear, when you really have one that is that good, and you put that up there, I don't think it means anything at that point, because you've said it so many times.
Well, and then,
but I think
I agree with you. If you've got 20 animals in this online set, how can every one of the 20 be, the greatest one? I mean, like this is the best one. This is the greatest. Best of it's a lot for me to take in. I'm not going to lie.
It is. So the other thing that I'll find, if it's not a national champion, be careful. And I would say that we've been having online sales for a long time, and it's evolved. Our descriptions have evolved. I hope we've never been too over the top, but I can tell you that if you might want to read between the lines, because human nature, they're going to describe the good things about that animal. And it's what you don't hear them talking about is where maybe you should be more concerned. And there's no question of that. I think it would be good in an ideal world to describe the good and the bad and everything and anything you can get across to represent that animal as close as possible for that buyer, because those are going to be happy buyers. But a lot of the times you're going to only hear the good, and that's just how it is. That's kind of how it's evolved. Even not whether it's an online sale, anybody selling anything is going to tell you the good things about them. And they may not lie to you, but you may not hear the things that are questionable.
Yeah,
so read between the lines a little bit.
It's just like selling a car or whatever. They're not going to tell you that the SUV gets shitty gas mileage, but they're going to tell you all the other cool stuff about it. But I think you make a valid point. Obvious in the majority of them, they say this one's stout or this one's over. When you read that description, and maybe they didn't mention structure, or they didn't mention, look or whatever, the things that they didn't comment on, go reevaluate that video and pay closer attention to the things that they didn't talk about versus the things that they made very obvious in their sales description.
And I think those things that are obvious in the sale description are probably the things that are going to be easily picked up by that buyer anyway. So yeah, I think there's a lot to that, Ryan. I think that's very, very good advice.
And I don't know if you still have more on sale descriptions, but go ahead.
No, go ahead. I don't. I have another couple little subtopics.
Like this just kind of like segues into this. And this is why I am the bitch that I am about seeing one in person. Okay. I have every day of my life, at least one person sends me a video and all this other stuff. Here is the thing. We're talking about reading between the lines on the sales description. All right. If the steer or heifer is walking in real tall grass and you can't see its pasterns, there may be a reason why. If they never even get in behind the sheep, the pig, the goat, the calf with the video so you can see how it walks from behind or up front, there might be a reason for that. If the animal is only pictured on the side view and never pictured up high or from behind, there is probably a reason for that. Are you getting what I'm saying here, Del? Or are you picking up what I'm putting out here?
No, I am getting it 100%. And again, I'm not saying they're not trying to mislead you, but they're showing you the best. And maybe it's the person that's editing the videos and taking those clips that only look the best and not that one where they're going away from you and their hocks are clicking together. It just is what it is. So be smart about it. Just utilize every bit of information you have, because you're going to live with this animal for a long time. And that decision on which one you buy, that doesn't take long, but you have to live with it and you have to deal with it. So the biggest thing, whether it's a sale description, I'm going to come back to this in the general after we get through a few more of the subtopics, but gosh darn, you need to get as much information and be as informed as you can be. And if in an ideal situation, even though it is an online sale, I don't think many breeders or brokers are going to prohibit you from coming to see them. So if you can, if it's within a reasonable distance and you have enough time, it's always better to go and view them in person. I know it's not realistic, and I understand the popularity of online sales and the convenience and all those things, but spend more time. Don't just click the button, call that person. Do your homework. Talk to others that maybe have bought from them before. Are they being straight up with you in their descriptions? Are they going to tell you the truth about things? The more you can get in terms of information, the better, the happier you're going to be. And every day going down to that barn is going to be that much better if you bring the right one home to begin with, or at least the one that best fits your budget and best fits the goals of your family.
And again, I am not saying that these people are intentionally putting misleading or false representing videos up there of their animals. I don't want you to think that. But I also do know that they are probably doing their best to highlight the most positive traits of the animal and to downplay the negative traits of the animal. And you can't blame someone.
No, that's just marketing.
Now, where I can blame people is when they edit the photos and the videos and make shit appear that's not there. But that's a whole nother topic. And y'all don't believe that you can't do that on video, because you can, people. Just letting you know.
That's what I wanted to bring up.
That's the myth that, oh no, the videos can't. Lies.
I had that coming. I drove a long ways to go look at a steer.
Good.
I thought
we can talk more about that, because they're
killer.
Lies.
Okay. Birth dates. You'll have some pig breeders may only put the weight down, avoiding birth weight deadlines for various shows. So as we're showing livestock older and older and older, and it's becoming more of the industry that Ryan would like it to be, completely and totally disconnected from the rest of the world, there are deadlines that are still out there. For example, a lot of state fairs have a December 1st or January 1st for the Midwest that are going to show in the summer, as pigs cannot be born before that date. And because of that, if there's record of them with a birth date on an online sale and somebody takes a screenshot or whatever, that pig shows up at a state fair, they could probably get them disqualified. So a lot of breeders now are only putting weights down, which if it's a sale tomorrow, Ryan, and it's Illinois, I think is at January 1 on the pigs, and that pig weighs 45 pounds. Do you think it was born after January 1st?
Possibly.
Yeah, maybe you can convince yourself of that. So I think that's the reason that you're not seeing some birth dates on some of the pigs. Sheep and goats, you'll see sometimes fall born, spring born, maybe an actual birth date. We just put the birth month down. Happy to give you the closest birth date we have, but 90% of ours are embryo transfer babies or flush babies that come in groups. And for the most part, they're going to be born in a 3-day period, but sometimes there may be from the first one born until the last one a 7-day period. So we will give you pretty much the middle of that, because we're in the middle of kitting out a big flush. We're not worried about those 2 or 3 days. It was in this flush group. This is pretty much the date they were born, even though we're probably going to be a couple days off. That's just being transparent as I can be. Ryan and the cat.
I'm going to insert something here. So on them putting information up there, and like Dale referenced just pig weights or whatever, the information that they put up there, whether it's birth date, sire, dam, weight, all that, I am going to say that I believe that overwhelmingly, by and large, the information that they put up there is true and accurate to the best of their knowledge. Now, if they leave information off, like Dale was referencing in the pigs or whatever, all this other stuff, I am just going to say, when you call and ask them, you're probably not going to get 100% truthful answer because there's a reason they didn't put it up there to begin with. Just want to put
I
that
think
out.
I think a lot of them are just trying to avoid the conflict if somebody screenshots it, and that one was born before it should have been.
I'm not talking about pigs. I'm talking about things in general. If they don't have the information up there.
Got it. Well, I want you to address the cattle thing because cattle, who knows on the breeding side, not the steers as much, but the breeding side, they get lost in the pasture for months sometimes before they ever notice they're born.
I'm just going to say this right here, right now. I am currently at the Cattlemen's Congress. I judged last week. We're showing this week. I've been here a lot. I have heard on the microphone more times in my experience at the 2024 Cattlemen Congress. This one is too mature. This one is too out there in terms of performance. More times maybe I've heard it more at this show than I have in my entire life, maybe at all shows. So I don't.
What are the judges saying? They're being politically correct.
That she's too mature for age. Maybe she's pushing the limit in terms of performance.
They're saying you lied about her birth date. That is what they're trying to tell you.
Normally, they never say a damn thing.
It's at least they're starting. At least it's
so again. I've been. I literally have been like, did I miss a memo that everybody decided to like do this like whatever? Because it really has been the one thing that I have noticed more than anything across all the breeds. I have heard references to that in the heifer calf classes more than I probably have collectively over a long time. So
I think it's just got that bad that you can't ignore it anymore.
But
you just can't.
It's so there you go. That it's been very interesting.
Agreed. Well, with our guard dog barking in the background, it's dark and the coyotes are coming in, so she's out barking. So I apologize.
I didn't hear it.
Some sellers, brokers, breeders will put up still pictures. Most will put up a still picture. Some will put up video as well. Some both. I actually take a cell phone video of all of ours that we don't post on the online sale, but rather if they text, we'll send it out to them. And part of the reason for that is to initiate that discussion so we can find more about what their goals are as a family and better fit what they're looking for by guiding them that way. And sometimes if we put everything up there, then we don't get that call and they're kind of stabbing in the dark a little bit. But Ryan had mentioned about the still pictures. We know that still pictures are photoshopped and sometimes done very poorly, sometimes done very well, all those things. But I think we're more aware that, if it's a picture, we've got to be a little cautious because we can alter those or they can be altered. And there's some editors out there that are very, very good at it. So everybody would go to the video and look at the video. And I'm not saying that by any means all videos are altered, but they can be.
Okay, that's just my point.
Be conscious of it.
I don't think that everybody knows it can be. They think that is.
I think everybody's aware that pictures can be,
but not video.
Yes. So when you see the video,
and so I want to tell y'all, you are wrong. You can edit, alter, cheat on the videos too. So don't take nothing as is.
I think it's going to take somebody with a little more experience to do the video editing.
But it is happening.
Oh yeah,
it is happening. It is.
I drove a long way to look at a steer that I thought that video was near perfect, Ryan, and it was too good. It was my own fault. I fell right into that trap. What about the presentation? You'll see stock pictured with shit on them coming right out of their barnyard, feedlot, whatever. You'll see animals that are presented like they would be at a national show, almost perfection, and everything in between. You'll have lambs and goats that are sometimes in hair or wool, sometimes slicked off. You'll have prospect steers and hair, sometimes slicked off in very odd ways that we should discuss sometimes. Legs sometimes fit, not fit. What would you prefer? Where should it be?
I don't. Again, I think that you probably, if you know your audience and do what you think your audience is going to appeal to them. If you're trying to sell slick shear steers in Texas, you probably don't need to put them up there with like 18 inches of shag and fit up like they're walking onto the floor of, the green chips in Louisville. That's probably not going to do a lot for you. And I know what you're getting at. Sometimes when you made the reference to them being slick sheared in weird ways, that's called quartering. That's what that's called. You shave the bodies, you leave the hair on the legs, a little bit on the shoulder, and mostly around the ass on both sides. That's called quartering. And
so if you're not used to seeing it, it does look odd.
It looks like a poodle, kind of. I mean, a little bit like a poodle cut. But anyway, I don't know the history behind quartering. All I know is that back before I was show age or live, that's how they used to show the American steers at Texas major shows, was in that fashion.
Before the slick shear rule.
Well, you still had hair, but that's how they were shown on the Americans. And so when we started slick shearing again, people, I mean, there were some cattle companies that sold just American cattle that have done this ever since on selling them, but with hair, without hair, whatever, that they would quarter their cattle for the sale and whatever, all this stuff. But once we started slick shearing in Texas, a lot of people, regardless of breed, have gone to that so people can see what, 85% of that animal's body looks like without hair. But it is called quartering.
And I think it helps. It's got to help the buyers. I mean, it just does. Yeah. So Ryan, when we have, and we've sold goats where we just peeled the butt and their tops early on because they were going to go out into colder barns, and there's reasons for that. But I think if I put myself in the buyer's situation, if I'm buying a market lamb or a market goat and I'm not there in person, I'm going to tell you, especially on the goat side, if I were to turn Craig loose and have him block up all of our wethers like we would a doe at a national show, they're all going to look incredible. And I promise you, I'm going to get a killer picture and a killer video of them, and you really won't know what's under there. It just is what it is. They would probably sell extremely well, but when those buyers get them home and a month later they slick them off, they may get a surprise that they're not happy with. Maybe they'll be thrilled and everything under there is great. But when there are people that good at clipping and presenting and fitting, do not think that you can see through that in a picture or a video, because it's hard enough to see through it even in person. It just is. So I'm saying use caution. I understand why people, and we have before, leave hair on some of these young animals that are going to be going out into non-heated barns and things like that. So I get it. I'm just saying from a buyer's perspective, don't think that you can see through that, because you just can't. You cannot in a video or a picture. I promise you that. It's hard enough to see through it in person, let alone in something like that.
Well, you were talking about general presentation, and I don't get why some people, and I've asked, like you said, that some people will just video them as they are, not clipped, dirty, shit all over them, whatever. I don't understand that at all. I don't. They say they want people to see them exactly as they are. Okay, well, whatever. But I'm
with you on that.
I want to agree with you. I do not understand on the sheep deal specifically how all of those, a large portion of them are sold in wool, and yet there is no show for market weather lambs where they can be shown like that at the end. None.
Agreed.
Zero.
And I understand some of the I mean, obviously it's easier to make them look better, and it maybe is going to keep them healthier if they're going to be delivered right away to a cold part of the. I see all those things, but Ryan, those words that you said right there, to me, it's easy, and I'm just going to speak from the goat perspective right now. There are no market goats shown in hair anywhere that I'm aware of. Can you show one in hair at a jackpot show? Probably, but I don't think you're going to get along real well.
I don't think it's going to work out.
No, so I think it's real simple. Why don't we present them as sellers or brokers or the people on the other side selling the animals? Why would we not present them as similar to how they're going to be presented at most of the shows. Would that not make it the easiest for the buyers?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I cannot believe that there is still such differences across a lot of the species, even on how the majority of these animals are sold online. But I mean, like, take sheep and goats, for instance. Now, in both of them, if there are weather dam shows, then maybe you can show them in wool or in hair. But for the market side of it, regardless of sex within the species, you're going to have to be slicked. So I don't understand why everybody wouldn't want to do that, because again, like you, I think that's the most helpful to the buyer.
Well, I can tell you on the seller perspective that you're going to harvest a lot more money, especially that first time you do it, because they're going to look better. They just are. It's so much easier to get a good picture and a good video of something in hair versus slicked. When you slick those things off, I mean, you know what cattle look like on the wash rack, Ryan. You know what slick steers look. It's hard. It just is. And when you don't have,
it's not hard for me anymore since I've had to do it for so long.
When they're babies, to get them fat enough to look smooth enough without hair and all the things that fat can help smooth out and hide, it is a challenge. So just I guess my advice would be cautious and make sure if you're bidding on something that is in hair and it's a young one and it's presented well in that hair, that's a market animal, I strongly encourage you to call that breeder bro. You've got to discuss it with them, because you're not going to be able to tell through a picture or video what you're looking at. So reach out, maybe make that connection. And again, I'm not saying that they're trying to deceive you by any means. There may be a very good reason that they're in here, and it may be because of a non-heated barn in a cold part of the country or that time of year. There's a lot of reasons to do it. It just makes it more difficult from the buyer perspective. Online, Ryan, I think that's enough probably on presentation. Online versus live sales. And along with that, I want to throw this in there, and I wanted to make sure to do it with both online versus live sales we can talk about, and real money versus fake money. Mm-hmm. That's all you. You are the Mr. Cattle, real money, fake money dissector.
No, it doesn't matter whether it's an online sale or a live auction. It's just, truth be told, I would say in 90% of situations, whoever the seller is going to put a cap on every single animal. That if they don't go for this, they don't sell. And that is perfectly their right. And so
they're going to protect that animal to a certain amount.
Right. I mean, it could be 8,500 or 85,000, but whatever it is, they're going to say, if lot X doesn't bring $8,500, then you keep bidding online, or you keep, or auctioneer buddy, whatever. It doesn't sell. We're keeping it. And that's completely their right. But I don't know if everybody's aware of that, but that is a part of it. It just is
part of it. This has been happening since the very beginning.
Yeah, since Adam and Eve went to their first stock show auction. I mean, this isn't anything new. I mean, it just
so that's. I think that's a realistic analyzation of maybe where it should be if that buyer is a certain floor. And in a live sale, they'll oftentimes refer back to that buyer are you good? Are you okay there? And it doesn't happen very often, but in some auctions, they will do that. There are some that get carried away that, okay, we may not have any intentions of selling this animal, or this animal's maybe already sold. And then all of a sudden, what happens, Ryan? With the price.
Not good.
It gets crazy sometimes.
Hey.
I mean, stupid crazy. Now, I'm not saying there aren't people out there that sometimes pay that stupid, crazy kind of money, but there's only a handful of those people out there that are going to do that. And all of a sudden, when you start seeing it happening all the time, it makes you question, is that real money? Are they trading dollars? Are they cutting a deal before the sale? I don't know, but there's sure a lot of them that are bringing an obscene amount of money, and you can go across species on it. And darn sure some of that is real, but I promise you some of it isn't. And it's very hard to decipher what is and what isn't. So I get the only thing you can do is just be conscious that it happens and don't get too caught up that if one brings a stupid amount of money, well, a much lesser one in there must be worth half that much, because it may not be.
No,
I think that's the best way.
Yeah, and I don't care what type of deal it is or all this other stuff. And when you made fun of me earlier when I said if I see something and I want it, then I'm going to buy it. Then there's a whole lot behind that, because just what you said right here.
True.
There is lots of I'm going to buy this one. Let's make it go for this amount. I'm going to buy it for this amount. But in the sale, we're going to make it go for this amount. So it looks better for me. All this other shit, yada, yada, yada. And that's why I'm like, okay, I want that one. What do you want for it? All right, I'll pay it. Let's go. And I'm just done, because I don't like all that bullshit.
Not playing the game. And guys, the game exists. It just does. And for various reasons, sometimes to get the sale hyped up, sometimes to put it out there that, wow, if this one brought X amount, that younger judge that maybe doesn't have a lot of experience knows that one brought that amount. It must be good. We better use it. There's a lot of reasons for it, and it's not going to go away anytime soon. It just isn't. So just think through it. Be smart. Don't assume that it's not real, but don't assume that it is. There's going to be both. And there are some of the most outrageous prices that checks are actually written for. And there are some that it just isn't. It's already been done beforehand, or it isn't going anywhere. So with that, I guess there's another one. I want to do some general advantages and disadvantages. And I think we've already hit on most of them, Ryan. But from a breeder's perspective, I can assure you, and we sell everything for the most part online, it creates a national market. I mean, you have a lot of people looking at those animals, considering whether they should buy them or not. And we have enough livestock haulers out there. We can get them to almost any part of the country now at a fairly reasonable price. So you've opened up your market huge via the online sale. Not to say you can't have a live sale and covered online as well, as most live auctions will have an online option. So that still opens that market wide open. I think it's good. I think it's healthy. From a selling perspective, I believe we have less expense when we're putting on an online sale versus trying to create a live auction with a facility and everything else that comes along with that. So from a breeder's perspective, there's a lot of positive. I think where breeders get in trouble, and we've already gone through this, is they make them all out to be national champions, or they are overhyping those animals. And when they show up, if people couldn't see them in person and they're disappointed, they're probably not going to have repeat buyers. So it just is what it is on that side of it. From a buyer's perspective, access to far more genetics, access to far more breeders to provide options for what they're going to buy. A lot of the buyers have busy schedule. Time is always limited for everyone anymore, it seems like. And some people just don't have the time to travel around the country and look at everything. So they can see all these animals online. And there are some people, Ryan, you mentioned that will look at them for 8 hours a day. I promise you those people are out there, and it's almost an addiction. They just love it. And it may be,
dude, I know so many people, so many.
I mean, they just scroll through one sale to the next sale. It's amazing to me. And I think it's good. They get to see a lot of livestock, and it's probably a good thing, but it shocks me how much of that is done. So the only other thing that I can say from a disadvantage standpoint, since the online sales, Ryan, I think there's far more people that are not getting to see the livestock in person for various reasons than maybe in the old days where everything was live. And for the most part, you either went to the sale or you had a representative at the sale looking at that animal. So there's probably more of that going on. And I don't think it's going to change by any means. So if you are not able to get there in person, and breeders will usually allow a certain time before the sale to come look at them, or an open house or whatever it may be. If you can't do that, you better trust the person selling that stock. Ask yourself, are they in it for the short term in terms of cash, or are they in it for the long haul? And I was once told by a very successful person in the livestock industry that some good people will do bad things when in financial trouble. And unfortunately, that happens in all industries, not just the show stock industry, but sometimes when your back's against the wall, you're going to maybe not represent those animals exactly as they are because you have bills to pay. You have things going on, and it just is what it is. It's human nature. So just be smart out there. Those of you that are buying online, and I've been doing this for quite a while as far as selling online, and I will buy animals online also. Just be smart about it. There's no reason for you not to reach out and gather as much information as you possibly can and ask around, ask other families that have bought from that broker or that breeder. Are they representing as is? Do your homework, and I think it's going to pay off in the long run.
The one thing I understand completely why online auctions, and I think almost completely did away with live auctions. I think live auctions are making a little bit of a comeback, but therefore I didn't know if they were going to survive. I'm just going to be real honest.
I thought so too. And I think there's some good in some of those that can get momentum into live auction and people get caught up in it. I'm not so sure you can't get more money through a live auction sometimes.
Oh, I think you can if you do it right and you can get enough people there, because there is,
and provide a form of alcohol for some.
Well, that's what, and I think if you can get the well, and there is something, but just because I've seen it so many times, when you are there in the moment and someone is bidding against you, you don't want to lose. It is different than clicking on a screen and going out, and then it comes up extended bidding for the 500th time, that whatever. When you are there in the moment and the adrenaline is pumping, you are probably willing to go further than what you intentionally planned.
I would agree with
and
that.
It is just because it is a situation and the adrenaline is there and all this other stuff, and maybe you had too many free cocktails before the sale started or whatever, but lots of factors. But online sales are here to stay. They're never going away. It is what it is, and there are tons of advantages to them. We all know. The one thing that I would say, and I am just going to put this out there, for all you people, whether you look at just a couple of sales or you are those ones that's all you do on your phone or computer 8 hours a day, look at sales. Try to narrow down, because not a whole lot of people buy show animals all throughout the year. You normally have a season when you're narrow down the ones you want. And if it is possible for you or someone whose eyes you trust to see,
non-biased third party,
right? I someone that you trust their opinion and you trust them as a person to guide you, can see them. Please do that. Please, please, please do that. Because again, online sales work and they are popular because by and large, I think most of them are on the up and up. But I'm telling you, I cannot also stress the number of times someone has come to me or I have seen something on social media or whatever where it is the opposite. They purchased this animal and it has been a disaster. And so again, if you or someone that you trust can see that animal in person, I cannot stress that enough.
I agree 100%. And I think there are some nightmare stories that once you buy that animal, while that animal's waiting to get from point A to B, and it may be a week or two before a hauler's going to that part of the country, I think a lot of times people are disappointed in the care they're giving that animal post-sale, which doesn't make any sense to me at all. I'm looking at it the opposite. Once that animal's sold and we're holding it until it goes somewhere, I'm not saying that we're pampering that animal, but I'm going to do everything I can to make sure it looks as good or better than the day it's sold, because you don't want it showing up in anything different than that. So communicate with those sellers about anything and everything you possibly can. Ryan, are you ready for question and answer?
Yes.
The first question I can't help you with.
Also looking for a sponsor for question and answer in 2024, and they don't give the money to Dale. They give it to the BTRJLA. Dale doesn't get the money.
Oh, remember, it's Clifton that gets the money. But, okay, with that said, we do have a couple people that have inquired, so I promise to get back to them and visit, and hopefully there'll be some more spots open for question and answer.
Send the money to me, not to Dale.
Bigger and better trophies, which I'm looking forward to seeing those this year. You've not sent me pictures.
Nope. They're the exact same ones as last year. They're getting picked up on the 15th or the 16th. Sorry.
The first question comes from Stacy. We listen to your podcast all the time and would love to hear your opinion. How do you feel about people leaving tufts of hair on lamb ears? It is primarily in fine wools. I think it's left on all of them. I don't know, I guess.
I've seen it in South Downs, fine wools, whatever. I've seen it in all breeds or whatever. And I don't, no one has ever got placed higher or lower for me because of ear hair. I guess that's the best way to answer it.
I think the perception is that even in cattle that it just makes them look a little stouter. You assume they're a little stouter featured, maybe?
I don't know. I have the only, and I mean, again, there are, exceptions to every rule, but very rarely do I notice an animal's ears, except like in hogs when maybe they've got a crimped ear or, stuff like that.
Now, you call some of my goats ugly headed.
No, but I don't say anything about their ears. I look at them, but again, I look at the ear, but there's never been many instances where an ear left an impression on me in any way other than in hogs when, they've got crimped ears or one's laid over and stuff like that. And it's not a detriment.
Or down-eared. You like those down-eared hogs.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a detriment to them even in that, but so my answer is I don't care what you do with the little tufts of ear hair because it's not going to affect how they do under me, but you probably need to talk to someone else that might have a more of opinion. I don't know. Sorry, bad answer to your question.
Okay, the next one should be fairly easy. This one comes from Gary. One of the greatest injustices that I continue to see at county fairs is a dairy goat breeder judging meat goat shows. They nearly always tend to pick a great big fat stale one to win. It is as if they cannot tell muscle from fat. How can we get the message out to county fair superintendents that is not a good idea for a dairy goat judge to sort meat goats, nor a meat goat judge to sort dairy goats?
And all I will say is amen, because you do not know.
Hope they're listening.
You do not know how many times when a county fair contacts me, they want me to do the dairy goat show or something like this. And I have no business judging a dairy goat show. This is nothing against the dairy goat showman or anything like that. I have no expertise in it. So I have no business standing out there sorting it. The same thing is with dairy cattle. I do a lot of county fair dairy steer shows, but it is a market steer show. They're just dairy breeds. And so I judge them just like I would any market steer show. But I get asked that a lot. I'm like, no, I don't do this. And I'm telling you, I don't remember. It was during Rona, but I go to one county fair and I had to judge the pygmy goats, whatever, because I said, I have no business doing this. Absolutely no business. Know nothing about it. But situation was what it was, and either I was going to do it or there wasn't going to be a show. And I explained on the mic, I had no idea what it's about and all this stuff. And this one lady got mad. I said, I don't blame you for getting mad. I don't know anything about this, but it was either me or you not have a show. And so I appreciate what he said. And I think it goes both ways. Dairy goat judges don't need to judge meat goat shows. And just like I have stated, I tell them all the time when asked, I do not need to judge your dairy goat show. I will not, because I have no expertise in it. And I think you're exactly right. I think probably the biggest problem is that county fairs are typically trying to save money on judges. And so they're like, well, you're just going to do the whole goat show. And in some judges' defenses here, I just want you to know that communication is not always the greatest, because I have been in situations where like, well, you're going to judge the goat show. And then they think I'm like, no, we're not doing that. When you get the contract or something, I'll be like, no, Not doing the dairy goats. Thank you, though. I have no business doing it. All this other stuff. So sometimes it may not be the judge's fault. I think county fairs are trying to save money so they don't have to pay travel expenses and hotel rooms for multiple judges. And then I'm also going to put it back on the people that accept jobs. There are some people out there that, I can do it. It's not a big deal. It's just a county fair. I'll judge it. And I think it's wrong on both ends.
Nope, I agree completely. And I got in a situation where communication wasn't good, maybe on either part, where I had to judge pygmy goats once as well. And I think I told the story, and it was a not sanction. There was a sanction show there the day before. So there were a lot of them, Ryan. And I was very, very young, and it was train wreck. Train wreck.
But
had no idea I was doing them. I was leaving the fairgrounds when they grabbed me to bring me back to do the pygmy goats.
It's the exact same deal. And so again, and I understand this guy's pain. I understand his whatever. And I think you're exactly right. And I think it is both ways. I think county fairs are trying to save money on judges. And I do also think that there are some judges that just like, oh, it's fine. It's just the county fair. I can do it all. Yeah. It'll be fine.
To strengthen this case, Ryan, nervous and young, you know what I talked about.
Probably structure.
Growth.
And pygmy goats.
Yeah.
That's good.
I did. I cannot believe it in hindsight, but I was probably 18, maybe 19.
That's awesome.
I don't know. Young.
You talked about performance and growth.
Nervous. I did. I used the big pygmies. Okay. Kim has our final question. I'm a show mom of 4 young exhibitors. I have a solid show and livestock background, but I feel like I do not know enough to guide my kids to be competitive in sheep and goats beyond our county show. How and where can I get more guidance?
Okay, I couldn't repeat that. What? She's 4 kids. What now?
She's show mom, 4 kids, good livestock background. She doesn't feel like she has enough knowledge at this point to get them past being competitive in their county show. How and where can I get more guidance? How can she learn?
The best thing that I can tell you is, again, do research. And I'm not saying go online and Google all this other stuff, but ask people at shows that are winning. And again, most overwhelming majority of people will let you ask questions, give you correct advice, all this other stuff. What I would do if I was you is I would try to find the most competitive, successful broker or breeder in your general area. I'm not saying in your county, but maybe in your state or somewhere that you're still comfortable that you could drive to them if you needed to take your animal to them and use them, because if you're buying from them, they are going to want you to succeed, not only for you to come back, but it is going to look good on them. And that's how I think is the easiest way to gain knowledge. Successful people want you to succeed because it is only better for everybody. And that's why some of these broker and breeders are way better at it than others are. And so seek those people out. And like we have said on several of these podcasts, you have to tell them up front, look, I want to go to the next level. I don't know how to. Can you help me get there? And will you hold my hand during this process? And if I have to text you 60 times a day, etc., will you be able to do that? And some people are going to say, no, I don't have time. And then some people are like, absolutely, I can do it. But I think probably the most efficient way is to gain more knowledge and more technique from whoever you're buying from.
Nope, I agree completely, Ryan. And then that's hard. I mean, the competition, Ryan, we've talked about a lot. It's stepped up. Even if that show mom or dad had a lot of success in the day, it's just a new game. It's just everything is elevated. So it is hard. And people are searching for that information. I think a lot of people listening to this podcast are listening because they want to gather information. So thank you for that answer. Very good. I'm excited about going out to Denver. Hopefully I'll see a lot of the listeners out there. I look forward to visiting with you. Until next week, be safe.
Y'all come back now, you hear?